Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech. A few years back, I used and reviewed pretty much every LG flagship available. G series, check. G Pro, remember the Pro? Check. The Flex, the V series. But then in recent times, LG's been pricing themselves out of reach, and they've also been launching pretty late in India. Sometimes they miss out entirely on Indian launches. So the interest in LG phones, it's kind of waned amongst the public. And so I've not really covered a lot of LG phones in the recent past. LG though has turned a lot of heads with the big billion day sale. The G8X, it's been priced insanely. Me personally though, I am one of the sorry few who ended up buying this phone before the big billion day sale. And it's not like I bought it a year back, I bought it 1 month before the big billion day sale. So I paid 52,000 rupees for a phone that's currently being sold at 22. Even by scalpers, it's being sold at 25. So I could have literally bought two phones. Okay, I'm not gonna go on that rant because that could be a sad story. I can talk about it all night. Any which ways, now I've gotten a chance to spend a considerable amount of time with this phone because I've had it with me for over a month. I've used it as my primary for about a couple of weeks. So the big question I had going in was, does the software suck? Because the last time I used LG, the software I wasn't a big fan of. The hardware has always been decent. The software was a little all over the place. So does the software still suck, or have they actually changed things around? I mean, turned things around? Well, that is what we're going to talk about in today's video. So first impressions, LG seem to have come a long way, gone are the cartoonish icons and wallpapers. Now let's jump into settings, and yep, that segmented settings menu, that's gone as well. I'm happy about that. In fact, the LG G8X that's being sold in India for the big billion day sale, it actually comes with Android 10 on board as well as the latest security patch for September 2020. Now, of course, that is the question of updates, and I'm hoping that LG would give the G8X at least the Android 11 update, especially now that they've managed to sell so many units here in India. It did launch with Android 9, it's gotten Android 10. So 11 for a phone that launched as a flagship, it seems sensible. But beyond that though, highly doubted. As even for flagships that end up selling only at flagship prices, most OEMs only end up offering 2 Android version upgrades. The LG G8X, like I said, it's already received a 10. Not 10 updates, Android 10. Sorry, bad joke. Anyways, coming back to the software experience, LG has actually stepped up their game. There are a lot of cool features involving that secondary display. So let me go through a few of my favorites here. If you've not actually gotten your hands on an LG G8X, now unlike say the Microsoft Duo or any other dual screen phone, this is not a dual screen phone. What you get is a case with the second screen, so you can actually plug the phone in and boom, you've got 2 screens now. I actually think this is such a nice feature that maybe other brands could actually sell a second screen case. Think about it for a minute. A Galaxy Note 20 with a second screen case that's also built out of plastic. Wouldn't that be, okay, you know what, Note 20 Ultra with a second screen case, wouldn't that be something you'd want to use? And maybe there they'll have a problem with S Pen usage, but say for example the S20 or an iPhone having a second screen case might actually be something other brands can also adopt, because it was very useful in my time with it. Now, of course, we can turn off the dual screen because it's only a 4000 milliamp hour battery. Battery life is okay. Talking about battery, a lot of you guys have been looking for fast chargers for your device because this festive edition phone does not come with one in the box. So basically any 18 watt fast charger should be good enough. That being said, the G8X can charge it up to 21 watts reportedly. So for maximum charging speed, I'd recommend going with the 27 watt sonic charger from Xiaomi. Oh, and there is support for wireless charging as well. Any reputed wireless charger, or rather any wireless charger for the matter, anything that supports the Qi standard should do the trick. I have left a link to a few in the description below, so use them if you find it helpful. Okay, back to software, we get the option to swap the main and auxiliary screen. We can also set a certain app to open up whenever we flip open the phone. So if you have any certain priorities, you can preset it, and every time you open your phone, that is what you're going to be seeing. Now, all of this is controlled by this floating button, and we can even change the positioning of that as well. Of course, that is the 3-finger swipe, which was super intuitive. Swiping with 3 fingers on any app will swap it over to the other screen. And this was not a limited feature. It literally worked with 99% of the apps. Sometimes with certain apps where the camera is involved, it wouldn't work, but most of the times it worked and it was very intuitive. I actually liked using it. Now, most of the special software features here are centered around that dual screen. Of course, it has a ton of productivity functions, with some apps like Chrome even supporting a white tablet mode. Now, these modes are restricted to certain apps that have been already programmed to take advantage of that second screen. For other apps though, we can of course multitask. So play any video you want, I'm just leaving it at that, on one screen, take notes on the other. There's even support for split screen if you'd want to take multitasking to that next new level. Or you could, like me, put a boring meeting, Hangouts call, a Zoom call on the second screen while we have one screen free to message friends and maybe even play a game of Among Us. Speaking of gaming, that brings us to this. Yes, we can use the LG G8x like this with the secondary screen acting as a gamepad. There are a few pre-made gamepads to choose from. So basically there's one that mimics a console, one that's like a joystick, one for arcade and fighting style games, and finally a driving wheel that's set up for games like Asphalt. We can also create a custom gamepad like we've done here for Call of Duty. Now, one more thing that I love is I can set the screen exactly at any angle. It isn't locked to a few preset angles. You set it at any angle you want and it stays there. So we can play the game at whatever angle is very comfortable for us. And last but not least, LG lets us swap screens so that we can have the gamepad on the other screen if we actually want to do that. And there's also the option to turn haptic feedback on and off. Personally, I like leaving it on, but hey, you have a choice. I was also impressed with LG's game launcher that offers quite a few options, including letting us stream right from the app itself. We can also bring up this in-game menu that lets us do things like disable alerts, turn surround sound on and off, adjust the frame rate and graphic quality, and of course take a screenshot. There's one more feature in here that's called Take a Break, which dims the screen so that we can conserve battery life when we are AFK, or AFS, away from screen. I don't know, whatever it is, as long as you're away from your phone, you can conserve battery life. It is a cool feature to have. Honestly, with all these gaming features on board, I think the LG G8x could have been a really great gaming phone. After all, we do have Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chip, 6 gigs of RAM, and even dual stereo speakers, and yes, they do sound great. I just wish LG had thought of maybe putting in a 90Hz OLED panel here, but hey, for 22Hz, that's asking way too much. And this is one of the very few phones that still retain a headphone jack, and not just retain a headphone jack, they've got a quad DAC. So from an audio perspective, this has probably the best audio output possible. So if you're someone who likes listening to high fidelity music but don't want to invest in a DAP, then this is gonna be your best jack of all trades. Now, a lot of you had been posing a few questions about the cameras. Well, the pictures, they are good. If you're gonna look at it as how good are these pictures for 22,000 rupees, I'm gonna say they are excellent, they're best in class. But if you're gonna look at it as a flagship phone or a last year flagship, do they compete with the S10? Do they compete with the Note 10? Then they don't really measure up. I mean, they're good, but they're not just there. Anyway, the camera does have a few tricks here. For example, the tilt screen mode basically mirrors the camera viewfinder and shutter button on the secondary display. Now, LG pitches this kind of like the swivel feature on the Asus Zenfone 6, where we can bend the phone with the primary cameras on the back and manage to take shots from cool new angles. We can also fold it all the way and use it for selfies if you want to show someone on the other side how your selfies look. Now, I have no idea why you would want to do that, or why somebody would want to take a look at your selfies while you were shooting them. But hey, again, if you want it, the option is there. The much more useful option is where we can half fold the secondary display and then use it as a giant flash or reflector while taking selfies in the dark. Tapping on the flash button twice activates this feature. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of selfies in the dark, but I'm guessing if you need to do it, then this is gonna be coming in handy, especially since we even get a slider that lets us play around with the color tone, the color temperature of the flash. And when it comes to viewing those pictures, the stock gallery app can make use of both screens. So we have the picture grid on one side and the full screen view of a said snap on the other. Now generally, as soon as I get a phone, I swap keyboards, I move on to Swift key, sometimes Gboard if I'm gonna be narcissistic enough to wanna, post my own GIFs, which admittedly sometimes I am. Then Gboard has Tenor and Tenor has my GIFs, so I end up switching to Gboard at times. But here, LG's keyboard, it had some special features built in that made me stick to it. The first being this button that lets us easily take a screenshot of the second screen. It's very handy. By the way, there is a dedicated button for it on the notification shade as well, but I find the keyboard shortcut much more convenient. Then there's this second button that in certain apps transforms the entire second screen into a keyboard. We can then prop it up and use it just like a laptop. Or if you are a thumb typist, you can even go ahead, split the keyboard into two. That would make things easier for you. Now speaking of laptop mode, we have a tent mode here. Yes, the hinge is strong enough, or at least LG thinks it's strong enough that we can set it at any angle. So we can put it up like a tent, change the orientation of the second screen, and now we can actually be doing something on one screen and stream the IPL to other people who are watching on the other screen. I mean, not that you probably shouldn't watch the IPL this year. It's all fixed. Yeah, I'm just being sour grapes. Okay, I'm so sorry. I got distracted. Talking about the IPL makes me super sad. Any which ways, now coming back, we can also choose what happens when we flip the secondary screen all the way back. Sometimes I find it's more convenient to text that way. So I've selected to turn it off. We can also control the monochrome glance screen up top. And yes, if you haven't noticed it yet, the G8X actually gets 3 screens, or rather the case gets 2 screens instead of 1. Now, one of the features that I've always loved with LG devices is their double tap to wake or lock implementation. LG calls it knock knock, but a tap works just fine as well. So what are my overall impressions about the LG UX9? Well guys, I came in expecting it to honestly suck. Okay, but it has evolved quite a bit. This is what I was most wary of when I bought this phone. It is chock full of features right now, but they aren't overwhelming or in your face. The UI seems to have taken some design cues from Samsung's One UI, and frankly, I like how it looks and functions now. The shape of those app icons, they need a refresh, they do. But overall guys, I honestly am quite impressed with what LG has done here. So to answer the initial question, does LG's UI suck? No, it is actually quite good. I just wish they'd polish the aesthetics a bit. Anyway, that's all from my side. Time for you to let me know what you think about the G8X and its software. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or do you have more complex emotions about it? Let me know in the comments below. And also, as always, share, subscribe and all that. And now, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.